Garmin makes some of the best sports watches in the industry, whether it's the Forerunner series, the Venue series, or the Epic series. But they also make fitness trackers for those who don't want a full-blown sports watch, the latest of which is the Garmin Vivosmart 5. Now, the Vivosmart 5 costs $150, and Garmin has managed to pack in a lot of features that it normally does in its premium wearables. But given it was released back in 2022, I've been using the Vivosmart 5 for the last 4 weeks to try and find out if it still delivers on all of those promises today, or if it's become an ancient piece of tech. Make sure you stick around till the end of this video to find out if the Vivosmart 5 is still relevant in 2024. Now, the unboxing experience is a pretty standard Garmin affair, with the package including some manuals, a proprietary charging cable, and of course the Vivosmart 5. So the tracker itself is quite lightweight, and its simple and slim design didn't really get in the way of my day-to-day activities. Now, Garmin says that the Vivosmart 5 screen is around 66% larger than the previous model, so you'll likely see text better if you're thinking of upgrading from the Vivosmart 4. Speaking of the display, Garmin has kept it simple with a monochrome touchscreen.
What?
You heard me right, a monochrome touchscreen with a resolution of 88 by 154 pixels, which works out to around 211 ppi. Now, that is quite low even for a 2022 tracker, and just for comparison, Fitbit released their Charge 5 back in 2021, a year earlier than the Vivosmart 5, and had an OLED touchscreen with a resolution of 326 ppi. But keeping that comparison aside, given the monochrome nature of the display, text and notifications can occasionally look a bit washed out, especially in bright sunlight. I mean, I sometimes had to look at the screen for a couple of seconds when running outdoors, which isn't really ideal. Now, there's not many color options here. You've got black, white, and green, and I must say I do fancy the green one a bit. However, I am scared that it might start getting dirty over time. Now, the tracker comes with a slim silicone band, which is slightly more rigid than a standard silicone band, but it does mean that the watch overall feels a bit more robust. It dries off quite easily, and I can't see any major issues with longevity. In any case, you can pop out the main tracker and switch it into a different band if you want to. Now, the display is acrylic, aka plastic, so there's nothing fancy going on here, but the display casing is quite robust, and I have managed to bump the watch a few times at the gym, but it has held up well so far. I think it is strong enough for most applications that this fitness tracker will be used for, such as cycling, running, strength training, yoga, and other basic activities that most people will use it for. Speaking of robustness, the rest of the case is plastic, which helps Garmin keep the tracker lightweight. And at the back, there's Garmin's Elevate optical heart rate sensor. And I'll get to the heart rate sensor accuracy later in this video, but overall, if I had one word to describe the Vivosmart 5's design, I'd say that it is understated. Now, the interface is quite simple here, and in a day where wearables have multiple buttons and gestures around the touchscreen, Garmin have managed to keep it really easy here. And you can see that there's a theme developing here around simplicity. So for example, there's only one button here right on the top of the tracker that you can't really miss, and pressing that once takes you to the main menu. Long pressing the button in the middle of an activity or an exercise gives you the option to finish it or complete your activity. Now, Garmin have also managed to cram in emergency assistance features here that you can access by long pressing this button till you feel 3 vibrations on your wrist. The display is a touchscreen, so swiping up or down from the tracker's face shows you various widgets such as steps, health stats, intensity minutes, phone notifications, and so on. Swiping right takes you to the controls menu of the tracker, from where you can access things like do not disturb options and find my phone. The touch input and software speed has been fine, and it's never crashed or become unusable during my use. Now, the other reason why I'm exploring the Vivosmart 5 in 2024 is the smart functionality built right into it. So I can set it up to receive notifications from my phone, receive and reply to text messages, as well as see incoming phone calls. That's it, there's no other smart functionality here, but Garmin have been pretty clear that this is a fitness tracker rather than a smartwatch or a sports watch. Now, the exercise modes or activities within the Vivosmart 5 are geared towards common fitness activities. So it will cover most basic activities like outdoor running, treadmill, elliptical trainer, yoga, strength training, and most of the other activities that people would ever need. Just don't expect things like skiing in here. Garmin have kept it really simple when it comes to the Vivosmart 5. If you want to learn how to add or remove activities from your Vivosmart 5, make sure you check out my full in-depth tutorial of the Garmin Connect app in the pop-out banner now or in the link in the description below. Garmin have also managed to squeeze in a blood oxygen saturation sensor within the Vivosmart's tiny body. Now you can set up the frequency of measuring the blood oxygen levels within the tracker itself to either only during sleeps or all day. Now keep in mind that switching on the all-day option for your blood oxygen level measurement will significantly drain the battery of your Vivosmart 5, and I'll get to the battery drain profile in a little bit in this video. Now the tracker itself gives some basic information such as the percentage of your blood oxygen levels, but within the Garmin Connect app you'll see a bit more detail such as the profile of your blood oxygen levels as you cycle through different sleep phases. Now take blood oxygen measurements from a wearable like this with a grain of salt. These are not meant to be medical grade devices, but still the fact that Garmin has managed to cram in this feature and implement it so well within the Vivosmart 5's tiny body is very impressive. So one of the most important features for a fitness tracker is accurate fitness and performance measurement, and this is another area where I have tested the Vivosmart 5's optical heart rate sensor in detail. Now Garmin have equipped the Vivosmart 5 with its proprietary Elevate optical heart rate sensor, and although Garmin hasn't specified which version of the sensor is built into the Vivosmart 5, it's unlikely to be the same one as its larger siblings due to the restricted width of the tracker compared to a proper watch like the Venue 3 or the Vivo Active series. Now I've been testing the Vivosmart 5 at the gym as well as for outdoor running, and to benchmark my heart rate readings I've used the Polar H10 chest strap, which uses ECG technology to record heart rate data, and this is often considered as the gold standard for heart rate measurement. Now indoor cycling is one of the easiest activities for a fitness tracker to measure, and looking at my heart rate readings here, the blue line is the data recorded by the Polar H10 chest strap, and the orange line is the heart rate measurement from the Vivosmart 5. And right at the start here, you can see that the Vivosmart 5 was struggling to pick up the elevation in my heart rate, and it created around a 10 BPM lag in the heart rate readings. And very soon after that, the Vivosmart 5 picked up the heart rate readings really well, and there was always only a gap of 2 to 3 BPM, and it was able to keep up with all the peaks and troughs within the cycling interval, and it managed to do that really well even towards the end, where my heart rate was slowly declining as I was trying to cool down from my cycling session. Now overall, the average accuracy for the Vivosmart 5 for indoor cycling has been 99%, and for me personally, anything more than 95% average accuracy for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor is a definite win. So I think Garmin has done a really good job with the Vivosmart 5 here. Now when it comes to outdoor running, there is some degree of hand movement, but it is still one of the easier activities for a fitness tracker to measure. And again, looking at my heart rate readings here, the blue line is the Polar H10 chest strap and the orange line is the Vivosmart 5's data, and you can see there is quite a lot of lag in the first 10 to 15 minutes, and although the Vivosmart 5 picks up the elevation in my heart rate, it misses the first few peaks measured by the Polar H10 chest strap. But after the first 10 to 15 minutes, it really picks up the pace and is almost recording the exact same measurement as the Polar H10 chest strap, and it does that all the way towards the end. It picks up all the peaks and troughs accurately, and even when I'm cooling down towards the end of my run, it measures the gradual decline in heart rate very accurately. Now overall, the Vivosmart 5 achieved an average accuracy of 97% for outdoor running, which again is a really good result for the Vivosmart 5. Now strength training or weightlifting is where most wrist-based heart rate sensors start to struggle because of the large variations in hand and wrist movements. And looking at my heart rate readings again, the Vivosmart 5 initially misses the first couple of peaks in my heart rate, but then it measures the trough and subsequently measures almost all of the peaks very accurately. I mean, I'm really impressed the way this wearable is able to detect all of these changes in my heart rate rapidly, and it does that consistently all the way towards the end of the workout. Now overall, the Vivosmart 5 achieved an average accuracy of 97% for strength training. Honestly, I cannot stress how impressed I am by the Vivosmart 5's optical heart rate sensor here, because I almost always see wearables start to struggle when it comes to weightlifting. Now the Vivosmart 5 is also capable of detecting and showing the various sleep stages and their occurrences when you're asleep. Now what I'm normally looking for from a wearable like this is the level of insight and feedback that I'm getting from the tracker as well as its companion app, using all the sleep data that it has recorded when I'm asleep. And this is where Garmin's Connect app doesn't disappoint. So opening the Garmin Connect app, you can see a fair amount of information such as the time spent within each sleep phase, how your heart rate varied during the night, and how your body has recharged during the night, including some really good insights to improve my sleep. Now take sleep tracking data from a wearable like this with a grain of salt. This is not meant to be a medical grade device and is not a professional assessment. Now, if you are having issues with your sleep, please see a doctor for a professional assessment. But still, the fact that Garmin have managed to implement this sensor and the feature within such a tiny body, along with providing really good insight within the Garmin Connect app, is truly impressive. Speaking of size, Garmin have managed to squeeze in a battery within the Vivosmart 5 that they claim can last for up to 7 days in smartwatch mode. Now, I'm always a bit suspicious when it comes to manufacturer claims around battery life because they are always tested in strict conditions. So when I test wearables on this channel, I set them up as if it were my own wearable. So in the case of the Vivosmart 5, I set the brightness levels to medium, and I actually picked the watch face that I liked using every day. I set the heart rate measurement frequency to smart mode such that the tracker increased the frequency of measuring my heart rate when I'm exercising. I also set the Vivosmart 5 to measure my blood oxygen levels only when I'm sleeping. And I also connected the tracker to my phone so I received notifications all day long. Now looking at the battery drain profile here, the Garmin Vivosmart 5 lost around 7% of charge every night whilst I was asleep, with my blood oxygen saturation measurements also switched on every night. And overall during workouts it lost around 4% charge, which included a mixture of strength training at the gym, indoor cycling, as well as running outside. Now mind you, the GPS used by the Vivosmart 5 is that of the phones because it doesn't have any built-in GPS in the tracker itself. And overall, the Vivosmart 5 lasted for exactly 5.5 days on a single charge with some fairly heavy usage, and this is not quite up to Garmin's 7 days claim for the Vivosmart 5, but still the fact that this tiny device can last for close to a week on a single charge and do all of the things that I've been discussing in this video is definitely not a bad thing. So the other reason why I'm exploring the Vivosmart 5 is the powerful Garmin Connect app. Now opening the Garmin Connect app, the interface is really intuitive and it shows you all the health metrics measured by your tracker in a bit more detail. So for example, opening this activity will give me quite a lot of stats and charts. Now one of the best things about the Garmin Connect app is that there's no paywall here, and there's absolutely a ton of features, including things like a large database of workouts if you're feeling lost, as well as dedicated coaches to prepare you for your first 5K or your first marathon. Now, if you're looking for more information on how to use the Garmin Connect app to its full potential, make sure you check out my full in-depth tutorial of the Garmin Connect app by clicking on the pop-out banner right now or the link in the description below. Now, if you're looking for watch faces, or in this case tracker faces for the Vivosmart 5, there's not many options here provided by Garmin, and the tracker faces that do exist aren't really customizable to show you the data that you really need. And that actually brings me to some of the annoying features of the Vivosmart 5. So the Vivosmart 5 doesn't actually have a GPS chipset built right into it. So if you do want to go for an outdoor activity such as an outdoor run, you'll need to take your phone and you'll need to make sure that it has sufficient charge to allow the Vivosmart 5 to use your phone's GPS. Now, Garmin presumably didn't add a GPS chip in this tracker because they probably wanted to minimize the internal technical changes from the older Vivosmart 4 and keep the size as small as reasonably possible. But other brands such as Amazfit have managed to include GPS in even their budget trackers that cost less than $100. Even Fitbit have managed to squeeze in GPS in the Charge 6 fitness tracker, which isn't significantly larger than the Vivosmart 5. So why can't Garmin? If you're planning to use the Vivosmart 5 for outdoor running, the default data fields only show the distance, duration, and pace, but not really the heart rate, which is a metric that many runners like to keep track of. Now, to enable this, you first need to go into the Garmin Connect app, then select devices, activities, run, data fields, and then switch on the heart rate gauge option to see your live heart rate when running. Now, this is far too many steps to see your live heart rate when running outdoors. I know I mentioned this before, but it's really done my head in. The monochrome screen on the Vivosmart 5 is really difficult to use. No, almost impossible to use in direct sunlight. Why can't Garmin just include a color display, even if it's LCD, within the Vivosmart series? I mean, even Fitbit with their Charge 5 and Charge 6 managed to squeeze in an OLED screen. So I can't really understand why Garmin is lagging behind. Oh, by the way, video on Charge 6 is coming out really soon. And that's not it. If you like taking naps during the day, just like I do, then the Vivosmart 5 is not capable of detecting any naps that you take, which means all of the sleep data and the analysis done within the Garmin Connect app starts getting a bit inaccurate over time. It's not all negative though. Here are some cool features about the Vivosmart 5. The Vivosmart 5 can estimate a metric called body battery, which is Garmin's way of telling you how well you've rested and how well your body has recharged during the night, and how much energy you have to expend during the day. The higher the score, the more energy you have to expend during the day. When strength training at the gym, the Vivosmart 5 uses a built-in rep counter to count your reps in real time. So I'm going to do 10 reps now. So let's see how many reps the Vivosmart 5 can track. If your stress levels start increasing, the Vivosmart 5 has an inbuilt breathing app that can help reduce your heart rate to normal levels and calm you down so you can move on with your day peacefully. If you've lost your phone, you can use the Vivosmart 5's Find My Phone feature. To use this, you need to first scroll right to take you to the controls menu, and then click on this icon, which should then start vibrating your phone. You can also find your Vivosmart 5 by using your phone. To do this, go into the Garmin Connect app, then select devices, select Vivo 5, and then select Find My Device, and your tracker should start vibrating, which will help you find it. So then, is the Garmin Vivosmart 5 still relevant in 2024, or has it become an outdated piece of tech? Now, I think that it does have a few shortcomings, such as its reliance on your phone for GPS tracking and a monochrome display that doesn't really work well in all scenarios. But Garmin have been unpretentious about the Vivosmart 5's marketing and clearly said that this is a simple fitness tracker, with an emphasis on the word simple, and I think that word really describes the Vivosmart 5 well. So if you're looking for a fitness tracker that does all the basics really well, can last for many years, and comes with a powerful companion app that doesn't have any paywalls, I think the Garmin Vivosmart 5 is still relevant in 2024. But I'm not saying you should go straight away and buy the Garmin Vivosmart 5, because there is another fitness tracker that also does all the basics really well, has a color touchscreen, and also has a GPS chipset built right into it. Make sure you check this video out to find out what that fitness tracker is. Now, I've been using the Fitbit Charge 6 at the same time as the Garmin Vivosmart 5, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my Garmin versus Fitbit video. See you in the next one.